what they were trying to go for was the unstoppable, what would you call it, the Terminator threat. It just keeps coming and keeps coming and keeps coming and keeps coming. The canon was thoroughly enriched, and that's something that I want to see more of. Although, admittedly, it's very hard to have cliffhangers on this scale on a regular basis. You're lucky to get one in a season. No, if you can't predict exactly how it's going to be resolved on the other side, that's a sign of a well-written cliffhanger, as long as it follows logically. It amazes me that we're looking back 40 years, and yet today the issues it raises and the characters that it presents are still very alive in the world that we are a part of.
Time Wanderer returns. A fearsome firing squad while struggling with spectrotoxemia. Being stoned by a lynch mob, and a creature emerges from the murky depths. Oh yeah, the murker. Oh yes, the cliffhangers that grab, the cliffhangers that flop. With different panellists and Doctor Who fans each time, we discuss the core of the classic Doctor Who success. The chills and the thrills that usually linked to the cliffhanger, so key to an episodic storyline. What cliffhangers are etched in your brain? We're all different, from different eras, different doctors. Send them in, tell me, and come and get on yourself. Sometimes it's because they were key to the plot, sometimes they were twee and just memorable for all the wrong reasons. So, welcome to our Cliffhangers Nail Biter show. Christian, before we hit upon some of your choices, you know all Doctor Who cliffhangers were left or inspired by the first. It set the template, so to speak. Did you like this one? Do you like what it set up, or do you think it's got into a bad, cruddy formula?
No, I loved the way that they set up the cliffhanger format. It was perfect for serials. And when they did the very first cliffhanger in the very first installment, I obviously wasn't able to witness it at the time. Being in America, I had to mine the airwaves to find copies of that many years later. But I could see where, yes, they set the perfect stage for what a cliffhanger should do, to raise the tension, to create a sense of stakes for the audience, to somehow give a visceral thrill to the viewer. They accomplished that very right out the gate in the first episode. That says something.
I mean, it's the classic, it moves the plot along. I mean, we were in a schoolroom, we were in Totter's Lane, we were on contemporary Earth. And suddenly we go, what's going on here? Find out next week. Classic. Cliffhanger. You need to tune in. Lots of questions, not many answers. A shadow here. Oh, looks a little bit sinister. I love it. Absolutely love it. So I was going to ask you, just before we come to your choices, when you were thinking about all your choices and those that you kind of binned, what were you deciding actually makes a good, or should I say great, Doctor Who cliffhanger?
Well, the first thing you've got to absolutely have is a build up to the moment. We've seen some cliffhangers that did not have the right pacing that builds up to that critical moment where you hit that wall and you wonder what's going to happen next. You want to make sure you've got that build up. The second thing that is critically important is there should be some kind of meaningful stakes attached. There's a profound sense of loss that the audience might feel. Oh, is that character really in jeopardy? It's possible something bad is going to happen here. And you've got that kind of anxiety rush because there are stakes. And it has to be executed seamlessly, because sometimes a someone will actually have a cliffhanger and then they undercut it with a momentary break from that beat in the story. So you've got to have the buildup, you've got to have stakes, you've got to have follow through. Now, there are two kinds of meaningful cliffhangers. One has the ability to transform the entire universe, which was hence one of the reasons for my first selection. It added a change of the Doctor Who template and added to that universe in a profound way that we've been mining for years since. The second thing is an intense emotional attachment connected to the Doctor, to his companions. It's emotionally moving in ways that a traditional jump scare doesn't do. So if you get that emotional undercurrent, that gives it extra power. So it's going to be one of those two things. One's a very strong intellectual element, and the other's a very strong emotional element. And if you can get the best of both worlds, more power to you.
And of course, they're his criteria. He's a Doctor Who fan like we all are. You can start to see the sprinkling of his choices here. If you agree or disagree, get them in the thread. And remember, come on yourself. So, shall we look at your first choice, Christian? And your
Yes.
choice, we need to go back to 1969, episode 9 of the War Games. And we're going back, obviously, to almost the end of Black and White Doctor Who, the very end of it. So if everybody remembers, and let's just see, because Christian's going to tell us why he thought this was a great cliffhanger.
Jamie, Zoe, Carstairs, into the machine. You move and I kill you! Then you will just have to kill me, Mr. Villa. Well, back the friend, what's the difference? It's too late.
When the Time Lords get him, he'll wish you had killed him. They're coming.
There's the TARDIS. We've got to get on. Goodbye, Doctor. Come on! Time Lords! We must get away! We must get away!
So there you go. What made that your great cliffhanger?
I love that one. I love that one. It was the first one that actually came to mind when you were asking me to think of a moment. It changed the entire trajectory of Doctor Who after that, because this was the first time we had a chance to really personify the Time Lords as a cast of people really who were a prescient threat in the life of the Doctor. If they ever got their hands on him, because he is more or less a fugitive from their society, and is held to account. And the nice thing about this particular cliffhanger is that it led up to the end of his tenure. We saw him bid farewell to some very beloved companions. We do know this set the stage for Pertwee's entry and his exile on Earth, but it changed that universe in a way that more recent attempts to redefine Doctor Who have failed, because in this case, bringing the Time Lords into the picture actually enhanced the story and enhanced that universe. So I felt an emotional connection to that story. At the same time, I felt like the canon was thoroughly enriched. And that's something that I want to see more of. Although, admittedly, it's very hard to have cliffhangers on this scale on a regular basis. You're lucky to get one in a season.
What surprises me endlessly when I watch this cliffhanger in particular is how they were scary, how there were this omnipresent, all-pervading force. That sound effect when Philip Maddock was saying, he wish he was dead. The dialogue plus the sound effects and this kind of his desperation to get away in the TARDIS. Add the three together, and especially the first time you watch it, you're going, "Oh my God, this what's coming?" It's a bit like that first cliffhanger. You see the shadows of the cavemen. You're going, "Oh, well, you didn't know it was cavemen, but you went, whoa, what's this? What's this? What's this?" Here, you're thinking, he must get away. He knows that. They sound dodgy, and it's even been said in the dialogue it's dodgy. It's building to that crescendo that you want.
Exactly. You've got to be able to build to that. And we talked about build up. All of those moments really added the sense of threat to potentially his life, certainly his freedom, if they managed to catch up with him. And of course, all of his vain attempts to try and circumvent his capture afterwards actually built up. So it didn't feel like this was something that would let the audience down in episode 10. It continued to build, and that's what you want.
So I mean, this is episode 9. I wonder what the kids thought when they were watching it, going, "How long does this go on for?" But I think there's a sense by what happened in this cliffhanger that we are imminent on the finish. It's like an existential threat, isn't it?
It absolutely is. By the way, I just have to say, I always love Philip Maddock. I really do love his performances, and wish I could see more of him, because he was very good in this role, and I'm sure every role that he did, he gave his all to. So
it's a very good voice, isn't it? It's a really good voice. And since you've mentioned that, let's have a look at it for a minute.
Then you will just have to kill me, Mr. Villa. Back the friend, what's the difference? It's too late.
When the Time Lords get him, he'll wish you had killed
oh yeah.
It's the voice. Absolutely. Solon, of course, as well as the other key element here. But this is great. But sometimes cliffhangers change the locale. They introduce a new character, that sort of thing, or we go a stage deeper in danger. Here, it seemed to be we are clearly ending to the finishing line. This is the intro to it, and because of what was said, you really do think, "Gosh, this could be over." And I wonder what fans thought at the time. Did they know it was limping? Did they know that this might be the end?
I'm going to theorize that many fans did not know. Those who were dedicated followers, they continued to follow, and this was worth following. Those who had migrated away briefly in 1968, 69, they weren't really thinking about it. So if you were a fan, you were a fan. I'm trying to put my mind at where I was when this aired. And as I shared with you, I was in preschool at the time. And had it been airing in America on primetime television for us, I suspect I would have been so riveted at that young age watching this unfold, with the very sense of who are these Time Lords, that they are so terrifying to the Doctor. I know at that young age, I would have been entirely captured.
And to give them that kind of name, I mean, they get named now, the Time Lords and all the rest of it. Carstairs here. I mean, we are coming to the end, and we are. And of course, the bit I had to clip out of this cliffhanger was they said they've stopped fighting. The other thing is, it's so sad. You've been with these characters for 9 weeks, and then suddenly he just disappears. You're just realizing the stakes are really pitching up here, and you seem to be linking and conflating this with this all-pervading sound effect. He'll wish he got away, and then you see everybody's just disappearing. It's as if we're going to face the gods of Ragnarok.
Absolutely. Well, look what they would end up doing to their adversaries. You will be gone as though you never existed. And they evaporate into the ether. It's, wow.
And this slow motion effect making this battle. And actually, I mightn't big it up now. I just wonder what it was like at the time, that you've been watching, say, Doctor Who since 63. This is only the second Doctor. This TARDIS crew is pretty established. Fraser Hines, very established. And they're all clambering in their last adventure, in leading to their last episode. It has that. It's as if the cliffhanger is echoing the moment.
Well, it is. And again, picture them struggling, going so slow motion. How many of us have had those nightmares where it's like you're trying to run through water and you are slowed down and you've got an impending threat right behind you that you can't quite escape? And that moment, that particular sequence harkens back to an almost primal nightmare that most people have experienced in their lives.
So there you go. So this time I'm going to play the war games, and as I play it, commentate, tell me when to stop. There may be something you particularly want to talk about.
Into the machines. Do you move and I kill you? Then you will just have to kill me.
Then you will just have to kill me. There's no choice in the matter. This is how much is at stake. He's going to turn his back, and it's quite possible he could have been shot and killed, as far as anyone knows. So that stands out. That shows you again how much he's committed to this course of action.
And you realise the peril he's in. When Patrick Troughton's Doctor particularly has been in peril before, he has that deliberate voice and all the rest of it. But here it's like, look, kill me then, because I'm still going to do what I'm still going to do. You realise, oh no, he has to get away. So yeah.
You move and I kill you! Then you will just have to kill me, Mr. Villa. Back the friend, what's the difference? It's too late.
When the Time Lords get him, he'll wish you had killed him.
And we've done this one. I just love that expression. I love that voice. I love the threat that it implies. What more can be said?
Yeah, and then this sound effect.
They're coming.
There's the TARDIS. We've got to get on. Goodbye, Doctor.
Yeah, this is the First World War and it's silent.
Mm-hmm.
Come on!
Organ playing. I love that.
You see, this organ thing, we've had it in Deadly Assassin, you get it. The Time Lords and this organ, the majesty, the power.
We must get away! We must get away!
I think that the organ adds that sense of almost gothic horror that you've seen in so many of the films that were running through Hammer in the 1960s and into the 70s. And it works. And it sends that signal that something bad is coming for the audience to latch on to.
And the hand is the last thing you recall. If it's episode 9 for a week, the kids will be going, does he get in? Does he get in? And of course, I'll show you a little bit of the resolution.
Force field! Hit me with the key! TARDIS may be able to break through the force field! It was the Time Lords.
Why did you run away from them in the first place?
I was bored.
Oh, what do you mean you were bored?
I was bored. How does that resonate with every school kid? It does, doesn't it? I was bored, and that's why I didn't stay there. Yay!
Exactly. No, it worked. Actually, I kind of like the fact Zoe looked so zonked, so tired getting in. She was more or less incapacitated outside the TARDIS, and when she gets in, she's still wiped out. Hey, if you've been fighting against a riptide in the sea, you are so knackered by the time you make it to shore, by the time someone rescues you. And that's almost what that reminds me of, seeing them exhausted at that moment in time. And yes, I think virtually every student can relate to the fact that it's boring, it's tedious to have to follow the dictates of the terrible headmaster as he says, thou shalt do this every hour of the day, no matter what. At some point, you just want out.
Well, mentioning the riptide, I'll do a segue, and say, talking about riptides, our next choice, Rories of the Deep, that Merker obviously created a riptide, probably. So let's watch this and try and work out why has he picked this as a great cliffhanger? Because I had this down as a favourite for the other category. So let's take a look.
Maddox.
Dr. Solar will take care of Maddox. I'm sure Dr. Solar will have Maddox back at his terminal.
The Merker.
What are you doing here?
His duty.
No!
I'm afraid the Merker takes quite a lot to impress. Fire! Hit it.
Tegan!
How would you feel if you let a door fall on you? It's no good, we can't lift it! Fatiga!
Get out!
You know...
Seal the bulkhead off immediately.
No!
You've sealed us up!
Brave heart, Tegan.
I mean, it's gonna kill us!
Hey, it's going to kill him. So come on then. Every Doctor Who fan's going, Christian, why have you made this a great cliffhanger? It's got the Merker in it.
Well, let's be kind and let's go with what the intent was when they created this particular sequence and you created this particular threat. The problem that it was faced with was related to production, the lighting and the pacing, the stuff that was going on outside of the set, which impacted the production of the show at the time, which was a problem. What they were trying to go for was the unstoppable, what would you call it, the Terminator threat. It just keeps coming and keeps coming and keeps coming and keeps coming. And had they been able to pull off the right set of lights and the right effects, perhaps a more effective creature design for it, they could have done something. I was reading somewhere where they were looking for something more along the lines of an alien, the alien from the film, which had just come out a couple of years earlier. Largely in shadow, unseen, absolutely unstoppable, very terrifying. And because of the way it was staged, they weren't able to execute it as effectively as they had intended, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it was something that fell flat with a lot of the viewing audience as a result. It wasn't for lack of trying. They were almost victims of circumstance.
The thing is, there's certain things that a lot of us say all the time, like the lighting in the 80s. But I think the lighting would have been key to this. I know it's a pantomime horse, but actually the design of it is not bad, I have to say. Yeah. The skin, the fins, it's very sea devilish and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Its clumsiness is, number one, it's being asked to walk over foam blooming stuff, which is hard. I mean, they're walking blind. But the lighting would have hidden an awful lot of stuff. You could have had emergency light on, red lighting would have been brilliant. I think they're the same with the mandrels. When I talked about Nightmare on Eden recently, I said, I've always dismissed the mandrels like a lot of Doctor Who fans have. But actually, if that lighting had toned down and been like on Eden, they'd have been fantastic. So actually, the lighting could have saved the Merker, especially when I was showing that shot when it electrocutes people, because that would have been very dramatic.
Yeah, I'm picturing, I would picture a red light. I would also potentially picture smoke, which would help mask the appearance of the Merker, and it would have been more threatening under those circumstances. So it was a lost opportunity. I could see what they were going for, and they just weren't able to pull it off. Was it because there was a constraint in the number of shooting days they had?
Well, I mean, the reason why we like Doctor Who is its ambition.
Yeah.
And I feel Worries of the Deep is sometimes treated unfairly. I actually really enjoyed Worries of the Deep. I was disappointed at the time. My first time, I was you know me and the Sea Devils.
Yeah.
The Sea Devils were treated like they were the riffraff. The Silurians were and I thought, I'm not having this. I wasn't, and of course they've been redesigned in nonsense.
Yeah.
The Merca was a new invention, and of course its application was the problem. I didn't mind because, as you know, as kids at the time, we were threatened about nuclear war and everything, and hide under the table and Red's under the bed and all the rest of it. So basically, I liked this two blocks thing, and mutual destruction and stuff. That was what everybody was talking about. So I think it's a clever story. I think it's an apt story. It's got the classic ending like the Silurians, where basically the Doctor's disappointed that the aliens have to die. And so it's got that moral code to it.
The conclusion of the entire story, Brendan, stood out to me. Did it have to end this way, with so many of the people and the creatures killed off? Obviously, we know that the Doctor values life, and he wants to find a solution that will save as many lives as possible. And yet, for some reason, despite all of his attempts, he wasn't able to make that happen in this particular story. And it resonates still.
Yeah, and so in a way, you push him back on this being a flop cliffhanger to actually saying, hold on a minute, it's got ambition. It's part of a clever moment in the narrative. This is the base under siege. What Doctor Who fan doesn't like a base under siege? The moment of the attack, resurrection of the Daleks, the blasting of the doors. This is the moment, isn't it? The attack on Troy, so to speak. So let's have a look at the cliffhanger a little bit more. Because of course the subplots were there, weren't there? I mean, Maddox. I could really relate to Maddox. I know the acting's not off the scale, but it was the fact that he's troubled and he has to do all this mind locking stuff. Do you know what? It's because I was revising. I had my GCSEs, and of course, I could relate to him. He looked stressed like I was. So I thought, and that Doctor and that bloke who were kind of picking on him and sabotaging his mind. I thought, yeah, that's like how I feel from all the adults who don't get it. It's harder now.
Oh yeah.
Maddox.
Dr. Solar will take care of Maddox.
Yeah, I don't want a doctor like her. Dr. Kill.
Well, actually, one of the things that this reminds me of, and it was very successful in, say, later films. If anyone remembers Aliens, when it came out, and you had that scummy turncoat named Burke, who was basically working to help the alien out in order to take one home as a sample, or Ian Holm playing a similar role in the first Alien film. When you've got a threat inside the walls of the tower that's under siege, that's a problem. And it adds tension because you don't know at what point this threat is going to impact your heroes and create a complication that they'd rather not have.
I mean, one thing I would say about this cliffhanger in a way is I criticised the NUwho when they did do rare cliffhangers, like I always say, Stolen Earth. You had Sarah Jane in a car about to be killed by the Daleks attacking Torchwood, the Doctor's regenerating. There were just too many different things. It was just too epic. Focus on one thing and sometimes it works. A bit horror fun rock, I felt here, actually, and it surprised me when I was editing that, I thought, actually, there's too many different things going on. So there's this subplot that's coming to its dramatic conclusion here, that they've won him over and she gets killed. You've got the Sea Devils are attacking another door, and then you've got the Merca attacking another door, and the Doctor and Tegan are now in danger. There's actually there's actually probably too much going on to focus on. One door, one moment, get the lighting right I personally think would have worked.
I'm sure Dr. Solar will have Maddox back at his terminal.
Yeah, go on.
I would say along those lines, you can get by with what I call epic scatter in a cliffhanger as you come up to the end of a show, but it should be something that's really close to the end of a series run as opposed to something that's early in the run. And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't this early in the season run?
The first one. Yeah, first
so
one.
You don't want that scattered effect. It works better early on if it's a more intimate and focused cliffhanger narrative. So there's less scattered attention of your audience. You're able to focus on one part of the narrative.
Yeah. Like episode 1, he fell into the water, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Those doors.
The Merca.
See, there's the other subplot, you know, there's not a subplot, but there's the other attack.
What are you doing here?
His duty.
I'm afraid the Merca takes quite a lot to impress.
Unfortunately, the dialogue sequencing, the Merca takes a lot to impress, and then this flimsy plastic door, this it's like, yeah, I know, with his table tennis eyes.
Fire!
Hit it.
Tegan! How would you feel if you let a door fall on you? It's no good, we can't lift it!
I mean, it kills well.
Yeah. It accomplishes its goal.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I mean. And so the lighting there would have been fantastic if it was dark lighting.
But Tegan, get out! You know.
Seal the bulkhead off immediately.
A Turlo I have problems with all the time, you know. No! It's like
I don't know. Strangely enough, I have a soft spot for Turlo. I kind of like the anti-hero component of the character. You know, you want the character to actually have some kind of a redemption arc. And, you know, they tried something similar with Colin Baker as the Sixth Doctor coming in, going through his growth arc. And they weren't able to pull it off then either. I don't know if there's a problem structuring characters that way.
Yeah, it might be. But yeah, here we go. And then we'll get to what happened next as well.
He sealed us up!
Braveheart, Tegan.
I always struggled with this Braveheart. We had it in Earthshock, you know, Braveheart. I kept thinking, what a strange phrase, Braveheart. It's from another age, isn't it? It is. Yeah, it doesn't really work. And Tegan, typically Australian, I say, oh, clear off.
Open it! Oof! That won't do much good.
Mind your eyes, Tegan.
So yes, he blinded it. That was what he did for a temporary blindness. It was a bit like the Citizens of Khan with Sarah. That's what they did there, basically. So we've had 2 of the great cliffhangers from Christian. It's fascinating to see all the different ones. So this might bamboozle everybody as well. The Dud, The Mysterious Planet, Part 1, part of our anthology of the Trial of a Time Lord. So let's take a look. And as usual, ask what was going on in Christian's head.
Where are you from, old one?
Old one?
What station?
I may look old to you, whiskerless youth, but I'm only 900 years old now. Untie me at once.
You'll be untied as soon as we're ready for the stoning. Those who steal life must in their turn die. The immortal commands it.
Who might that be?
Feigning ignorance of the immortal will not save you from death.
Now, immortal, I am ready for you.
I am Balazar, the reader of the books. Ancient books, from the world before the fire, called Mo by Dick by Herman Melville. The Water Babies by Charles Kingsley.
Sounds a rum sort of library to me. Whole world, everything.
We call it UK Habitat.
That old hag took our guns away from us just like that.
I think it best that you stand over here. Well, in case some stray stone breaks the water jug. People get very excited at these stonies.
Clever, eh? That trick with the umbrella.
I'm suggesting now that it becomes a trial. I strongly suggest the termination of his life.
Okay, Christian?
Okay, this post cliffhanger scene is actually something that undercuts the preceding scene where he's supposedly been earnestly wounded by one of the stones. So you have to ask yourself, what was the cliffhanger they were going to go for? Was it him trying to defend himself with the umbrella, or was it the fact that he needs to basically be put to death at the directive of the Valyard? For some reason, this particular cliffhanger did not work for me. It seemed almost campy, using the umbrella to kind of fend off the stones. And actually, that didn't last long anyway. One very quickly managed to get through and bump him in the head. You almost think, you know what? Don't even worry about the umbrella. It's immaterial at this point. It undercut its own earnestness, if we want to call it that. And that made it a much weaker story. And then, of course, you have the postscript where he's on trial afterwards that immediately undercuts this as a cliffhanger, because it's clear, obviously, he's now there being placed on trial to begin with. So we already know he's gotten past that point. You don't structure a cliffhanger with that in mind.
Yeah, this was going against the nature of cliffhangers, wasn't it? Because basically, number one, we got sick of the close-ups of Colin Baker. The other thing is the cliffhanger is supposed to really intrigue the audience to want to come back. And because the premise of the series was he's actually presently in a court case, this is all irrelevant. This Trial of a Time Lord sequence has had the same effect on Doctor Who in killing suspense as the Bi-Generation did, when it basically said that every Doctor carries on. So in other words, they never die.
Precisely. And this was I think the whole idea of the Trial of the Time Lord, where they're doing a clip show with six stories that the audience had not been witness to yet, and we see that he gets through each time. It's virtually impossible to create cliffhangers in that context and make them work, because again, we already know he's gotten through all of these chapters to get to the point where he's on trial in the first place. Now, if it had been marketed differently, such as I don't know, they were talking about the show itself is now on trial, and we're going to take the audience feedback to determine the direction of it in the final, because we've got 2 chapters that we've created. Maybe that would have galvanized more interest and would have created more gravitas for the story. But the way it was rolled out was just not effective.
Especially when this one is the past. Mm-hmm. Well, the past, I know they can do the timey-wimey nonsense because he's a time traveler, but take that away. He's living in the present, therefore the past is dealt with. And we obviously later realised that this is Ravalox and it's been censored and stuff, but that had to... The impact of that, the legacy of that, was way later in this story effect. So basically that was lost on us. I was wondering, why is the Mysterious Planet any good? Why are we bothered? And the courtroom... You see, this is it. When I talk about there's more than one thing going on, because it's called The Trial of a Time Lord, and because this courtroom always seemed to end every episode just about... You keep thinking, well, is the story of this season just the court case? Because if it is, the cliffhangers need to be woven into the court case, and they can't be just, hold on, I've got new evidence here. It needs to be something dramatic within the court. For example, episode 13, suddenly the master appears, and he seems to... You needed that earlier. You needed... Things were going on. He was maybe killing some of those Time Lords who are in the jury. Do you know what I mean? You needed something that was the cliffhanger within the trial.
And we didn't get it. Interestingly, when I think about the Trial of the Time Lord and I think about its resolution, and then I look at the first episode that came in with the next season, I almost think they should have gone straight to the Valyard as the next Doctor. And you see that character's move over the course of the year to where he ends up going back and trying to put this earlier incarnation on trial. It might have been a more cogent extension of the story that they were trying to go for at the time, as opposed to what we got. But that's just a thought.
I mean, as you look at this, Christine, I keep thinking, yes, the lighting's an issue. The music doesn't get me suspenseful. The dialogue doesn't. It's all wry, you know, oh, water babies, Moby Dick, and you're going, oh, God, am I supposed to be laughing or crying here?
Have you ever talked to someone, Brendan, who's trying to impress you with how witty they are? And it's painfully obvious that they're trying too hard. That's part of the problem with the dialogue here.
And this is, I mean, when we come to your final choice in a moment, and I've actually, in a way, this could be like an execution.
Yeah.
And the next one, we look at an execution of the Doctor. And I'm thinking, one is really gritty and all-consuming, sensory. This one just looks as though it's a theatrical play, and it looks as though we're doing a workshop. And that's unfortunate. And I'm not blaming actors or anything. I think the lighting, again, needs to create an atmosphere. The music needs to be different. I mean, bloomin' hell, bring back Dudley Simpson. That court, please, poor Colin Baker. He can try all he wants, but he's fighting the fact that he's in the middle of the bloomin' 80s. So there's so much going on. And yes, the umbrella. I remember the umbrella being used in Crotons. So, you know, the great Patrick Troughton used it when the gas came out of the Crotons, whatever it's called, Dynoscope. But something about how it's been used in this compared to then wasn't the same. And you realise they're plastic stones. It doesn't help. And then, of course, he's joking. And the only jeopardy is, yeah, we're up in the stakes now. It's not a parking fine. We're going for the lot. So it's really weird, isn't it? So shall I play it through one more time? And just, if there's anything you want to pull on as we go.
Where are you from, old one?
Old one? I may look old to you, whiskerless youth, but I'm only 900 years old now. Untie me at once.
You'll be untied as soon as we're ready for the stoning.
A lot of the close-ups is what you pointed out earlier. And now that you kind of brought my attention to it, yeah, the close-ups don't work. You need to have a variety of shots, so they weren't choosing the best combination of long shots, group shots, and close-ups to create a more energized sequence. And of course, the lighting still remains a problem.
Yeah.
To steal life must in their turn die. The immortal commands it.
Who might that be?
Feigning ignorance of the immortal will not save you from death.
Now, immortal, I am ready for you.
I am Balazar, the reader of the books, ancient books from the world before the fire.
I wasn't sensing we were coming to some major cliffhanger when it sounded as though this was a chat with a librarian.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. How should we phrase it? Do librarians often have that that energy of gravitas attached to them? If that were the case, they needed to cast someone probably grizzled with age, that has feels like they have a history behind them. So the way the character was cast just doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, you know, shh. This library. Shh. I mean, honestly, I'm thinking, oh right, this is a university type humor thing again. It's like, oh, Moby Dick and strange pronunciation.
Moby Dick by Herman Melville. The Water Babies by Charles Kingsley.
With the whimsical music, that's not helping this.
No.
If the actors are trying and busting a gut, it's that interplay with the music that's not working. So therefore, do I have to blame the director?
Mm-hmm.
That's a rum sort of library to me. Whole world, everything.
We call it UK Habitat.
That old hag took our guns away from us just like that.
I think it best that you stand over here. Well, in case some stray stone breaks the water jugs. People get very excited at these stonies.
Roll up Clever, eh? That trick with the umbrella.
I'm suggesting now that it becomes a trial. I strongly suggest the termination of his...
For some reason, that trick with the umbrella, I was thinking of Eric Idle. I'm not sure why, but that kind of jovial approach. Nice trick with that umbrella there, huh?
I've talked earlier on a different Cliffhanger show where I understand what they're trying to do. I'm not being dismissive here. I understand they're trying to do a juxtaposition of the Doctor being light-hearted and he realizes he's in more danger than he thought he was. I get that, but it's just sometimes it's the application of it.
So, you want me dead?
So his reaction here, there needed to be some of that earnest seriousness when he was about to be stoned. You know, he's trying to make light of a difficult moment, but the ability to put in a witty one-liner to try and undercut tension or diffuse a situation, it needs to be handled very deftly, very lightly, and they weren't able to accomplish that in the stoning scene, but they were able to apply a moment of gravitas for Colin Baker to exude when he was back in the courtroom.
However, when it comes to your last choice, oh my gosh. So here we go. Let's take a look at quite a choice cliffhanger, everybody.
Stock must have had a good day. Morgus said that Spectrox was the most valuable substance. I wonder what it can be. It's going to worry me until I find out what it is.
Seem to be about ready for us.
Morgus, I can't thank you enough. My greatest boon ever bestowed on humanity. That is why this war must be brought to a conclusion.
One honourable way, sir. Shallus Jack must be crushed.
The public want their Spectrox, Morgus.
The execution, sir.
The red cloth. In my day, we'd have had filthy little swine like that shot in the back.
You have a last declaration.
We're innocent. We've had no trial.
Firing squad. Take aim.
Fire!
Oh, I have to ask the question as if I'm stupid. Why is that a great cliffhanger?
That's an execution scene that works. You've got the reaction of the people around that moment. You've got serious somber tone from our hero and his companion. Actually, the ceremony of dressing them in red in preparation for it. And think about this. By the time they got to the end of that, you cut to black. You're done.
Yeah.
And you've got to wait until the next episode to see exactly how it plays out. There felt like there was an emotional stake attached. And remember, they're already at this moment of the story poisoned. They're already at this moment of the story. They know they have to be cured if they're going to survive anyway. So there's a great existential crisis overriding the entire narrative all the way through.
It's like a double death going on, isn't it? A slow death, and then there's the quicker death on top. Do you know what? We've just mentioned the Colin Baker one, and we've mentioned the Warriors of the Deep one. The first thing I noticed when I saw this clip again, is the lighting.
Mm-hmm.
The lighting is phenomenal. Look at that. The lighting of Peter Davison. He must have dreamed of this as an actor and gone, this is how you do it. It adds to that melancholic kind of mood he must have been in. I'm intrigued by what's going on, but I think I'm going to die first. And it's just, I must admit, I was gripped. I remember I was, 15 or so, and I was just, how is this going to, this is episode 1. I know he's going to regenerate, but this is too early. This is too early. What's going on here? And I couldn't see a way out. I really couldn't. because it was so grim. We said Logopolis was funereal, but this was funereal.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that made it a very powerful story. I think you pointed out the very thing that was missing. No campy lines, a dark, gritty set, dark, gritty lines. There's a strong emotional stakes involved in the story. We kind of know what's coming. We know that there's going to be a regeneration. And so everyone who's emotionally invested in Davison as the Doctor are already on pins and needles to begin with. And this just adds to that. It was so effectively carried out. It was just a wonderful winning cliffhanger.
Well chosen actors. Sharaz Jek, great villain. In fact, is he actually a villain? I have to say, in many ways, I don't know if he's even the villain, because this is Robert Holmes right on his master game, because everybody had a motive for whatever they did. It had a high death count. It was a fascinating story to see. I love it when the Doctor is really, he's out of his depth. I absolutely love that. Logopolis, he's out of his depth. You know, he's running to catch up, isn't he? Planet of the Spiders, he knew, you know, I'm facing the inevitable. Patrick Troughton, we saw it today. I'm up against the Time Lords, and you can't escape that. I love it when the Doctor really is up against it. And this one, you've got Sharaz Jek, who's up to some tricks. You've got all those politicians on another planet who he will never meet. Fascinating. Very clever storyline. And this interplay, this great, not my editing, the great editing of Graham Harper, this whole sequence when eventually you realise it's androids that have replaced him. Absolutely fantastic. And you know what? He's able, like you said, he's added to the, as in the director, he the writer, has added to the enormity of this by actually having moments, like you say, with the red cloth and that. We're getting lovely lines because you're going, hey, don't knock my Doctor. He's not one of the bad uns, but you get to see people slag him off. It's like, wow.
Well, we often say the best have moments of, what would you call it? There are analogs in our current world to see something like this unfold. And so it becomes very relatable when you look at the news, when you see what's happening, whether you're talking about conflicts between people, or you're talking about corporations, or you're talking about governments. And very rarely is anyone's hand clean in all of that. And everyone has their own motivations. And so when the story itself was crafted, they crafted a very believable narrative as they built this world in this scenario, but it was something that the audience was going to be able to relate to quite effectively. And then you come up to that one moment where people are going to die in this. And it's a precursor of what is to come. You know that's going to happen. Even if they get through it, we know that the Doctor is supposed to survive. That doesn't mean his companion has to survive. And how he survives is going to be a big question. So, just a wonderful, wonderful cliffhanger.
The iconography, the symbolism, the dialogue, the acting, the music, it does all come together. This is a symphony. It really is. I'll be intrigued when we do discuss a compilation of cliffhangers, when we've accumulated more. I wonder how high this one will be in the end of the cliffhangers, because to me, this does everything a cliffhanger should be doing. It's the Doctor in peril, not even, you know, his companion is, but he is as well. And, you know, if Sarah's stuck somewhere, you know, the Doctor's going to probably get her. We saw that in, even when in NUwho, when of course Chris Eccleston famously said, Rose, I'm coming to get you. The Doctor coming to get the companion, you know that's going to happen. But when the Doctor's also in trouble, you go, well, he's in a prison cell. There's a firing squad outside. People are slagging him off on another planet. There's Dennis Person laughing his head off, and I don't know how he fits into the story. but he looks sinister, a bit Magnus Greel. And it's like, it's got too many layers for me to go, I don't know how he's going to get out of this at all.
Precisely. And that's one of the satisfying things about the cliffhanger. Some cliffhangers, you automatically know exactly what's going to happen next. But if you don't know, if you can't predict exactly how it's going to be resolved on the other side, that's a sign of a well-written cliffhanger. As long as it follows logically, you've got a winner.
So, because this is an absolute stonker of a cliffhanger, I think we should watch it and interrupt it and commentate, yeah? So let's just set this. Stotts must have had a good day. Do you know what? Writing nowadays, when you watch from Space Babies onwards, I'm trying not to be too kind of obvious in my criticisms, but the point is, there's no depth. I mean, I would applaud RTD if he allowed that. There's a basic storyline, and then there's these kind of clever intrigue, unbelief, but there's no subtlety. There's no nuance. You know, I was not going to learn what the hell he's waffling on about. We weren't even introduced to this. This is the classic. It's like seeing the Zygon, and you see his hand and you see his eye, but you don't know who the hell he is.
Stott must have had a good day. Morgus said that Spectrox was the most valuable substance. I wonder what it...
I have to say, it's one of the great shots of Peter Davison's era, this. Because there is a shot where you've got him looking through the prison cell bars.
Mm-hmm.
The lighting... He's got the tone just right. I mean, Peter Davison lives within his performance, doesn't he? He never looks as though he's having to get into a sweat, but his acting is just so comfortable.
Can be. It's going to worry me until I find out what it is.
Seem to be about ready for us.
Just watching this, it makes me think if they had been giving him stories this strong just 12 months earlier, would he have opted to leave at the end of his third season? Would he have considered staying for one more? And would his tenure have been stronger as a result?
I think it's undoubted. I think his acting could have been enhanced. As in the acting performance you got here was because he was thinking that. And he was thinking, God, if it had been this good, I'd have stayed. What a damn shame.
Morgus, I can't thank you enough.
Drug running, pharmaceutical industry, politicians up to corruption, militia. I mean, this story is adult. This story is clever. This story has the Doctor in peril for the basic storyline. But if you're an adult sat there with your kids, this is pleasure.
What I find remarkable, Brendan, this story is still current today. It amazes me that we're looking back 40 years and yet today the issues it raises and the characters that it presents are still very alive in the world that we are a part of.
Amazing.
My greatest boon ever bestowed on humanity. Often. That is why this war must be brought to a conclusion.
One honourable way, sir. Sharus Jack must be crushed.
The public want their Spectrox.
What is it?
The execution, sir.
Now, some said he breaks the fourth wall. He doesn't, does he? He just kind of, it's almost Shakespearean. He just talks to himself, doesn't he? And the camera just lanes it up. Because this is it, RTD. Oh, you can break the fourth wall, darling. No. That was clever because it's hard to show political intrigue. I know from doing the Shakespeare like you do. You need to show in a soliloquy or something what is going on in the actors, in the character's head. And that's the way to do it. And I thought it was perfect.
RTD could take a few lessons.
Yeah, and we'll send you this tape if you want, RTD. I mean, I don't care whether you say, oh, well, it's a bit more pantomime now. Doesn't matter. Doctor Who needs this. This is the tick box.
It works. All I can say is it works. Has anyone ever seen a Phantom of the Opera? It works.
Well, you're not allowed disfigurement now. I think in RTD's new agenda, you're not allowed disfigurement and you can't have disability. So Shara's Jack is going to have a perfect male model face.
That's right.
Ruined.
The red cloth. In my day, we'd have had filthy little swine like that shot in the back.
See, I love this. His reaction to how it's carried out and his disregard, because there are standards. Some people deserve a particular kind of execution, others don't. They're not worthy of it. So you're actually building into the character as well as the culture. Again, it adds to the story.
It resonates with 2025 as well, veteran affairs, respect for veterans, the flag and all this stuff. And the red and politicians who love to preach, but they're not the ones who go into war. Classic.
That's right.
Our very last declaration.
We're innocent. We've had no trial.
Firing squad. Take aim.
Fire!
Dismiss.
Well, I feel the decision to execute was precipitated.
Doctor.
So you got to meet him straight away, and then you start to work out androids. Wow.
Exactly. Powerful.
So we've wrapped up there. So when you've been thinking and thinking and thinking, is that your favorite cliffhanger of all time, or was there another one that's just come into your head? What's your favorite?
That one stands out. I know that episode 9 in War Games stands out, but you know what the problem is? If you look back at Classic Who, we aren't talking New Who, Classic Who, there are so many that stand out. It's like, how do you pick from 100 brilliant choices if all 100 of them are good?
Good answer, really, isn't it? Because let's face it, that's the problem. Well, this was your cliffhangers show, really, Christian. This was your choice. These were your cliffhangers. I'm sure you might come up with more later, and I'm sure the audience might. Like and subscribe. Join us. Christian, I hope you enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
It's great, isn't it, going over these? For the good and the bad.
Without a doubt.
Bye for now, everyone.